Hey everyone, if you're already subscribed and you smash that like button right now, you're about to hear the one confession I swore I'd take to my grave. 42, married mother of a 20-year-old son, and this is the raw, unfiltered truth about the single night of sensual taboo desire that completely hijacked my brain forever. No filters, no excuses, just what happened when the ordinary suddenly turned deadly. It was a quiet Friday evening in our suburban house, the kind where the clock ticks louder than usual and every creak in the floorboards feels like a question you don't want to answer. My husband was away on business again, chasing another deal in some distant city, and my son was at a college retreat for the whole weekend, off building his own life without me. The house felt like an echo chamber of what used to be. I was in the kitchen in my faded yoga pants and oversized tee, the fabric soft from too many washes, stirring pasta and trying to ignore how empty the place felt. The parenting routine had become my whole life. Meals planned to the minute, laundry folded with military precision, and silence that pressed in from all sides. I'd lost count of how many evenings I'd spent like this, alone with my thoughts, wondering when it stopped being the woman I used to be and turned into just Mom. The steam curled up from the pot, warm and familiar, but it did nothing to fill the hollow spot in my chest. Then the doorbell rang sharp against the steady patter of rain outside. I paused, spoon hovering, and felt a flicker of something. Curiosity? Relief? I couldn't name it yet. Wiping my hands on a towel, I walked to the door and opened it. There stood Ryan, Ten's best friend since they were little. Rain soaked his shirt to his chest, outlining the lines of his shoulders in a way that caught me off guard for a heartbeat. His hair was dripping, dark strands falling into his eyes, and he shifted his weight, looking a little sheepish but steady. Mrs. Harper, my car died 2 blocks away. Storm's getting worse. Can I crash here tonight? The power imbalance hit instantly. I was the adult, the homeowner, the mother figure who debaked cookies for his birthday parties and bandaged his scraped knees back in the day. And he was the 21-year-old man now standing in my space, bringing the wild energy of the storm right into my quiet world. I should have hesitated, offered to call a tow or something, but the rain was lashing harder, and his eyes held that earnest plea. Get in here before you drown, I said, voice steady even as my pulse quick in just a fraction. He stepped inside, water trailing behind him like a shadow he couldn't shake. Ryan had always been like family, the boy who practically lived at our house during summers, laughing with my son over video games until midnight. But tonight, alone in the house with no one else around, the imbalance felt charged like the air before lightning strikes. I was the one in control, offering shelter from the downpour, yet his youthful strength and easy confidence invaded every corner of my quiet routine. He dropped his wet bag by the door with a soft thud, the sound echoing in the entryway, and ran a hand through his wet hair. Then he smiled, that same boyish grin, the one that used to make me chuckle when he'd charm his way into extra dessert. Only now it made my stomach tighten, a slow, warm pull that I immediately tried to push away. He was my son's best friend, for heaven's sake. The kid I'd watched grow up. I busied myself grabbing a clean towel from the hall closet, handing it to him with what I hoped was a casual smile. He was so close, the heat from his rain-chilled body radiating toward me in the narrow space. The scent of wet earth and something crisp, like citrus and musk clinging to his skin, drifted over, and I forgot how to breathe for a second. My mind screamed the warnings. This is dangerous territory. Emily, you're the responsible one here. A quiet hunger stirring after years of feeling invisible in my own home. I led him toward the kitchen, the pasta still bubbling on the stove, and tried to keep the conversation light. You must be freezing. Let me get you something dry to change into. He followed, his footsteps heavy on the tile, filling the empty house with a presence that made everything feel different, smaller, more alive. As we entered the warm glow of the kitchen lights, I caught myself glancing at him again, at the way he moved with that effortless grace, and the internal war raged on. I was supposed to be the steady one, the mom who kept it all together. Yet here he was, invading my space in the most innocent way, and already the ordinary felt like it was cracking open, revealing something forbidden underneath. His grin lingered as he thanked me, eyes bright with that youthful spark, and I felt the first real tug of gravity, pulling me toward night I knew I should resist with everything I had. But as the storm howled outside, matching the one beginning to brew inside me, I wondered how long I could pretend this was just shelter from the rain. We moved into the kitchen, the pasta still bubbling softly on the stove under the warm glow of the lights. Ryan stepped up to help without being asked, reaching past me for a bowl on the counter. Our fingers brushed his warm, slightly rough from sports against my skin. I pulled back fast, but the spark stayed on my fingertips like a brand I couldn't rub away. We ate at the island, our knees touching under the table. Neither of us moved. The warmth seeped through, steady and undeniable, while outside the storm kept raging. I tried to keep my fork moving, but my thoughts wouldn't settle. Later he leaned in for the salt shaker, his breath brushing my neck, warm, carrying that crisp citrus and musk scent mixed with rain. It flooded me, making my pulse quicken. I caught myself staring at how his damp shirt clung to the lines of his shoulders and chest, tracing every breath he took. Each tiny contact stacked, innocent on the surface, electric underneath. My mind screamed at me, "Emily, stop. Yes, your son's best friend practically raised in this house. If anyone ever found out, you'd lose everything." The guilt twisted sharp in my chest. Yet my body answered louder. A slow heat pooled low in my belly, spreading like a heat wave I couldn't escape. The scent of his aftershave and rain hit me every time he moved close, making me feel alive after years of feeling invisible in my own life. I hated how my thoughts split, one side whispering I need to stop this now, the other unable to pull away from the pull of him. This was wrong, so wrong, the taboo hanging heavy between us like the storm clouds outside. But the way his nearness made my skin prickle, my breath catch. It was stronger than the shame, stronger than reason. The kitchen felt smaller with every second, the air charged with what we weren't saying. Our knees remained touching, a silent secret. His eyes would catch mine across the island, holding just a fraction longer than normal, and in those glances the heat would flare again, leaving me trembling with the effort to keep my voice steady when I spoke. This was only dinner, only a storm-forced shelter, but the way it was unfolding felt like the beginning of something that could unravel me completely. As I stood to clear the plates, reaching across the counter near where he sat, our hands came close, once more hovering in that charged space between us, the warmth radiating without actual contact. My breath caught, the almost moment hanging there heavy and full of possibility, and I wondered if he felt it too. The rain hammered the windows harder, like it refused to let the night end on anything safe. Ryan set his glass down with a soft clink, eyes drifting to the cellared ore across the hall. "What if we cracked open that good bottle of red?" he asked, voice low and warm, "just to warm us up. Kill a little time." I knew better. I said yes anyway. Two glasses became four, the deep crimson sliding down to easy, loosening laughs that shouldn't have felt so natural. Our words tumbled lighter, closer, the kind of talk that slips past every guard you've spent years building. We carried the bottle to the living room couch because the kitchen lights had grown too sharp, too honest. Shadows pooled around us here, softer, forgiving. Alcohol and the storm's tight isolation stripped away the last polite inches between us until the couch felt like the only place left in the world. The wine loose and everything. "This is wrong on every level," my mind kept repeating. "Your marriage, your son, the life you swore you'd protect." One mistake and it all burns, yet the heat rising under my skin drowned the guilt faster than I could name it. To my pulse hammered in my throat, every breath shallower, my body answering with a hunger I hadn't felt in years. Even the leather beneath me turned traitorous. Cool at first, then warming against the backs of my thighs, each small shift sending sparks I couldn't ignore. Desire had me by the throat now, tightened unrelenting, and guilt only made the pull sharper. A slow R&B song drifted from his phone, the hills, its heavy rhythm curling through the dim room like smoke. His hand rested on my thigh then, palm warm through the thin cotton, steady. I didn't move it. Couldn't. The weight of it anchored me right there, pulse racing under his fingers. The kiss happened like a dam breaking. Hungry, desperate, years of quiet frustration pouring out in one trembling collision. Our mouths met and clung, wine and rain and need mixing until nothing else existed. Clothes tangled and slipped away on that couch in a breathless rush, fabric whispering against skin as barriers dissolved. His young, firm body pressed close, heat radiating everywhere, the scent of his skin and rain and cologne wrapping around me completely. Every inch of nearness flooded my senses, pulling me under like gravity. I had no strength left to fight. For one night, the taboo became the only thing that existed, drowning every reason I had to stop. My breath caught sharp as the electricity between us surged. Bodies so close, the line between us blurred into something I couldn't name. And in that surrender, I felt the last of my control shatter, knowing this craving had already hijacked everything I thought I was. Yet, even as the heat consumed us, his lips brushed my ear with a single whispered word that made my heart stutter. And I realized the storm inside had only just begun. We stayed locked in that fragile tangle, our breaths slowing but still heavy, mingling in the quiet that followed like a confession neither of us dared speak aloud. Sweat cooled on our skin, leaving a faint chill that only made the lingering warmth between us feel sharper, more impossible to ignore. Ryan's voice came then, barely above a whisper, brushing against the curve of my neck. That was, God, Mrs. Harper. The words hung there, raw and unguarded, settling a strange calm over everything. Not peace, exactly, but a heavy equilibrium where the storm inside matched the one pounding against the windows outside. Our bodies remained close, limbs intertwined in a way that felt both accidental and deliberate, the release bringing these few stolen minutes of stillness amid the chaos we'd unleashed. I couldn't move at first, my pulse still racing under his touch, every inhale carrying the scent of him mixed with rain and the faint trace of wine that clung to us both. Whispering reminders of the life waiting beyond this room, but the afterglow held it at bay, just for now, like a temporary truce my body had negotiated without my permission. His chest rose and fell against mine, steady yet unsteady, and I wondered how long we could stay suspended here before the world pulled us apart. Eventually we stirred, the couch creaking softly as we slowly dressed in the dim light. Fabric slid over skin with reluctant whispers, each piece a small step back toward the world we were supposed to inhabit. He paused, shirt half-buttoned, and looked at me with eyes that held no regret, only quiet certainty. No one can ever know, but if you want this again, I'm in. My head nodded before I could stop the motion, the agreement slipping out like an exhale I didn't realize I was holding. In that instant, the contract between us formalized itself, transforming one reckless night into our secret arrangement, the taboo no longer a fleeting mistake but a hidden path we both chose to walk. Morning arrived too soon, gray light seeping through the curtains as the rain finally eased into a drizzle. I sat there alone after he'd left, the decision pressing down on my chest like an unseen hand. End it now, bury the memory deep, and fight to forget the electricity that had rewired every nerve. Or surrender to the exchange, letting this desire continue under terms we both understood but could never admit. The moral cost was devastating, a knife twist I felt in my core. I'd betrayed the man who shared my bed for years, the son who looked to me as his anchor, the family I'd poured my soul into building against every storm life threw our way. How could one night unravel all that without leaving scars? My mind kept circling back to their faces, the trust I'd shattered in a single breathless surrender, and yet my body still hummed with the echo of his nearness. Yet the benefit was something I couldn't unfeel, no matter how hard I tried to push it away. For the first time in years, I'd been truly wanted, desired with a hunger that made me feel electric and alive, seen in ways the routine of marriage had long forgotten. It was like waking up after years of sleepwalking, every sense suddenly sharp and aching for more. That one night of sensual taboo desire completely hijacked my brain forever. The craving lingers in quiet moments, pulling at me like an invisible current I can't escape. Even as I go through the motions of the life I once knew, I still crave it every single day, the ache a constant companion that whispers what if in the dark. If you've ever crossed a line that rewired your entire soul and found you couldn't go back, tell me in the comments. Like if this story stirred something in you, subscribe to hear how this hidden arrangement is still playing out in ways that keep me up at night. I'll see you in the next one. Wondering if the pull will ever let me go.